A nest of murder hornets in Washington State has been brought to justice. And that's where we start the week here on CNN 10. My name is Carl Azus. I'm happy to see you. The Asian giant hornets, also known as murder hornets because enough stings can kill a person, first appeared in Washington State last year. People don't know how they got there. These insects are not native to the U.S. They're also not welcome. Insecta non grata. According to the Washington State Department of Agriculture, a small number of murder hornets can wipe out an entire hive of honeybees in a few hours. Entomologists have been able to trap some of these insects, the largest hornets on Earth, and they used the ones they captured to find their nest. First, they glued a tracking device to a murder hornet, but it fell off and the glue gummed up its wings. Then they tried to tie a tracker to a hornet with dental floss, but that didn't work either. Finally, entomologists reportedly used glue and floss to keep a tracker in place, and it worked. The hornet led them to a tree on private property in the town of Blaine. The owner said officials could remove the hornets and the tree if needed, and they used a type of vacuum to clear out the first known Asian giant hornet nest in the U.S. This doesn't mean the problem is solved as far as we know. There are probably still some Asian giant hornets lurking around northern Washington State. Its Department of Agriculture says if people see one, they shouldn't try to trap or kill it themselves, but instead report it to state officials, who are now up 1-0 in their mission to eliminate the invasive species. From northern Washington, we're moving 2 states south to northern California, where wind speeds of 70 miles per hour were in the forecast Sunday. That makes wildfire conditions very dangerous, and that's why Pacific Gas and Electric shut off power to at least 386,000 homes and businesses. It's done this before. The company is trying to prevent its equipment from starting fires in the dry, windy conditions, and that can happen if power lines blow over, for instance. The winds flowing from east to west across northern California are called the Diablo winds. They typically blow from the direction of California's Mount Diablo, which is where they get their name. They can be at their worst in the fall, and what makes them so dangerous during wildfires is that they can both fan the flames and blow sparks to new areas, causing the fires to spread. Officials say the power shutoff could end Monday or Tuesday. In the western United States, millions of acres have burned in wildfires this year. Dozens of lives have been lost, and thousands of homes have been destroyed. An early winter storm is descending on some parts of the region. It could bring record cold temperatures with it, and as much as a foot of snow to the Rocky Mountain states of Colorado, Montana, Utah, and Wyoming, so that could help firefighters. For some of those who've lost their homes in the blazes, a CNN hero is continuing his work to provide shelter, one RV at a time.
When we got to Northern California, it's that apocalyptic feel. The tragedy is almost every home in this community was lost, and people don't know what they're going to do. And just having worked for the last 2 years with campfire survivors, we know what they're in for. My name is Woody Faircloth. I'm a 2019 CNN hero, and my daughter and I started a nonprofit called For Campfire Family. We've delivered over 80 RVs to residents of the Paradise area who lost their homes in that fire. And then just recently, these wildfires picked up again in the West with devastating results. And we heard about the fire in Berry Creek and how devastating it was because it's only 20 minutes from Paradise where the campfire was located. And unfortunately, this fire has really affected a lot of first responders. 6 of the 7 volunteer firefighters in Berry Creek, California lost their homes, including the chief. And so Luna and I did what we do. We sourced a couple of donated RVs and we headed out to California. We delivered one to Chief Reed Rankin.
I just can't say thank you enough, but thank you. And I deeply appreciate it because we wanted to be coming on here another month and a half. At least we got somewhere to be.
He loves his community.
It's huge. I mean, I just don't have much words, but it's huge.
A couple thousand of his neighbors are left homeless. 15 people were killed in the fire, and they've been through a lot. But the chief's still out there every day on the line fighting the fire.
I can start over somehow. I just got to get everything done up here and get the fire completely out, get people back in to see the stuff, and then I can start trying to figure out what I'm going to do. But I'm definitely staying in Berry Creek. I'm definitely going to somehow rebuild. Hopefully FEMA will help us out.
One of his firefighters we helped, Catherine, she told me that they drove by her house and it was fully engulfed in flames.
We were driving through, trying to get people evacuated, drove by my house. I said, bye house, and kept going.
She had moved into a shed as temporary housing after losing our home, and we don't think that should happen with people who are out there putting it on the line for us every day.
This is so wonderful. More than words can say this is just awesome.
We changed our name to emergencyrv.org, and we've kind of opened it up to anywhere that someone's affected by a natural disaster where emergency and temporary housing is needed. Our biggest need is for RVs. You can donate those to emergencyrv.org and we'll get them deployed right away.
10-second trivia. Which of these Halloween-themed movies was released first? The Nightmare Before Christmas, It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, Ghostbusters, or Hocus Pocus? It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown was released in 1966, making it the oldest movie on this list. To trick or treat or not to trick or treat? That is the question in some communities across America this year. In some neighborhoods, Halloween will look a lot like it usually does, with kids out and about ringing doorbells and stocking up on candy, though there may be more protective masks than usual, and there may be more adults leaving out a bowl of candy rather than handing out treats individually. Some places, like Los Angeles County, California, have considered outlawing trick-or-treating altogether out of concerns it would spread coronavirus. But the county changed its mind on that, saying it would be allowed, just not recommended. And in New York City, where CNN 10 contributor Chris James is based, outdoor activities like trick-or-treating are encouraged. Indoor activities like parties are not. Chris has more on suggestions and approaches for Halloween 2020.
Hey Carl, COVID-19 is making it hard for all of us to enjoy doing some of our favorite things. I miss being able to go to a crowded concert or check out a brand new movie inside a theater. And now one of the most fun holidays of the year is going to look a whole lot different. I'm talking about Halloween. I love dressing up on Halloween. Check out my last costume. I put on pinstripes and picked up a baseball bat for my impersonation of New York Yankee Aaron Judge. A real home run, if I do say so myself. But this year, Halloween's going to look very different, especially for all the young kids out there who are used to doing trick-or-treating. Last month, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued Halloween safety guidelines and labeled traditional trick-or-treating as a, quote, high-risk activity. Instead, they're recommending one-way trick-or-treating, dropping individually wrapped goodie bags off at neighbors or friends' houses, which would help eliminate human contact. And get this, the small town of Mountain City, Tennessee is encouraging drive-by Halloween events at their local community center, which is an idea that other cities are going to try as well. And companies like CVS and Target will be offering boo bags. Get it? Individually wrapped bags of candy to give out to people. And the Spirit Halloween stores are recommending socially distant costume parties, graveyard scavenger hunts, and virtual ghost storytelling, of course. So while we may not be able to go to a packed event and some will avoid door-to-door trick-or-treating, we can still celebrate Halloween, even though it'll be different than we've ever done it before. Back to you, Carl.
Well, here's one way to do a Halloween costume that fits a common theme of 2020. Behold a walking Zoom meeting, creatively titled a Zoom and Gloom meeting that features a bunch of photoshopped images of the 12-year-old who will be wearing it. The girl herself is visible through a cutout in the middle, and the screen above her will reflect the person who's giving her candy. This was created by a dad whose company designs office buildings and museums, and he's made a name for himself with creative costumes in the past. Of course, you might call it a little psycho, but it took a Draculot of ingenuity and maybe some werewolf-all to take the Frankenstein to monster up such creativity. The dad's a Jekyll of all trades with nothing to hide, y'all. I'm Carl Azus for CNN 10. Today's shout-out school sounds a little like a football play. It's U32, as in U32, hut hut. It's in East Montpelier, Vermont, the middle and high school there. Thank you for subscribing and leaving a comment at youtube.com/CNN10.